Welcome to the Quickstart guide for the SidecarTridge 256KB decoder. This add-on board expands the functionality of the Atari ST and MegaSTE series by enabling them to use 256KB ROMs, originally available only in Atari STE and MegaSTE models. The decoder is designed to work with the SidecarTridge TOS Emulator, allowing you to run any TOS version or custom ROM. Soldered directly onto the Motorola 68000 CPU, it generates synthetic addresses and enables signals, letting the CPU access the 256KB ROM range. With this configuration, you can enjoy an array of TOS versions on your Atari ST, opening up more possibilities for enthusiasts and developers. Let's dive in and get started. Now here's a quick but essential warning. Installing the 256KB decoder requires good soldering skills because you'll be working directly on the Motorola 68000 CPU. If you're not experienced with precise soldering, getting help from a professional is a good idea. This will help avoid any risk of damaging the CPU or other components on your Atari ST motherboard. Before purchasing, you must check a few things to ensure compatibility with your Atari ST or MegaSTE. First, let's identify your Atari ST motherboard model. Open up your Atari ST case and locate the motherboard model number. It's usually printed near the bottom middle of the board. Once you have that model number, head to the compatibility section linked in the video description to see if your model is supported. If it's listed, you're good to move on. If not, feel free to contact us for more information. Now, check if your ROMs are plugged or soldered. If your ROM chips are plugged into sockets, it's perfect. You're ready for the next step. But if they're soldered directly to the board, you'll need to desolder them and install sockets carefully. If you're uncomfortable with this kind of work, it's best to seek help from a professional to avoid damaging your motherboard. Finally, select the correct kit. To make this step easier, make sure to pick the right kit based on your motherboard model and ROM configuration. The video description includes links to each kit. Let's continue to the installation in the next chapter. Now that your decoder kit has arrived, let's review its contents to ensure that you have everything you need for a successful setup. Here's what you should find in your kit. 256KB decoder board. This is the main add-on that allows access to 256KB of ROMs. SidecarTridge TOS Emulator. The core emulator that lets you run different TOS versions. Rescue cable and push button. This is used to enter rescue mode if you need to recover your setup. 6-pin flat cable, 20 centimeters for the MegaSTE and 10 centimeters for the ST. SidecarTridge QR code card. This card links to firmware updates and documentation to keep you up to date. If anything is missing or damaged, please contact us right away and we'll help you resolve the issue. With everything checked and ready, let's move on to the installation. To install the decoder, you'll need access to the Motorola 68000 CPU on your Atari motherboard. Carefully open your Atari ST or MegaSTE and locate the CPU. Make sure your workspace is clean, static-free, and that your Atari is powered off and unplugged. Ground yourself with an anti-static wrist strap or by touching a grounded metal object. Position the 256KB decoder board on top of the Motorola 68000 CPU. Ensure the alignment matches the CPU pins. Follow the printed pin labels on the decoder as a guide. Blue tack can be helpful here to keep everything steady. The decoder must be soldered directly onto the Motorola 68000 CPU. Here's what you'll need: soldering iron, low temperature solder or solder paste, flux, multimeter, isopropyl alcohol, optional blue tack to hold the decoder board in place. In this video, I will use low-temperature solder paste to avoid damaging the motherboard or the CPU. You can use low-temperature solder if you wish. It depends on your own soldering skills. Add a bit of solder paste to the CPU pins to help the solder flow. With the help of blue tack or a similar tool, secure and align the decoder on top of the CPU pins, ensuring it stays steady for precise soldering. Using a soldering iron, solder each decoder pin to its corresponding CPU pin. Be careful to avoid any solder bridges. Once soldered, inspect each connection. Use isopropyl alcohol to clean off any flux residue. Before proceeding, we must first check our work. Use a multimeter to confirm continuity between the decoder and CPU pins, and check for unintentional solder bridges. Take off the blue tack and clean any residue from the surfaces and connectors. If your original ROMs are still installed, we strongly recommend powering on the Atari to verify it boots normally. This ensures the decoder board doesn't interfere with the computer's basic operation. Once the decoder is tested and securely in place, you can install the SidecarTridge TOS Emulator following the specific installation guide. Connect the 256 kilobytes decoder to the TOS Emulator carrier board using the included 6-pin flat cable. With everything connected, power on your Atari ST or MegaSTE to test the setup. A successful installation will allow you to access and run a variety of TOS versions and custom ROMs. And that's it for the hardware installation. Please refer to the documentation site for more details and information. Enjoy.